frowned. What? She shook her head. He looked scared. That wasn't what I expected to hear. For weeks, I had imagined a violent confrontation. A guilty man. A murderer. But Margaret described something different. A desperate man. A frightened man. And suddenly the story became more complicated. #### the missing piece. The deeper I dug, the less certain I became. Some evidence pointed toward guilt. Other evidence pointed away from it. Then I discovered something hidden inside Rebecca's journal cover. A folded photograph. Behind the photograph was a handwritten note. Just 4 words. Ask him about Michael. Michael? Who was Michael? I had never heard that name before. Not once. When I asked my mother, she immediately froze. The reaction told me everything. She knew. And she didn't want to talk about it. That night she finally admitted the truth. Michael wasn't a stranger. Michael was Rebecca's fiancé. A man who disappeared shortly before her death. Nobody had seen him since. The room went silent. My entire investigation suddenly shifted direction. If Rebecca had a fiancé, what role had he played? And why had nobody mentioned him? 2 days later, I couldn't wait any longer. I confronted my father. For the first time in my life, I demanded answers. We sat in his study. The same room where I had found the folder. Rain tapped against the windows. Almost exactly like the day everything began. I placed Rebecca's journal on the desk. His face turned pale immediately. Then I placed the letter beside it. And finally the photograph. The one hidden inside the cover. He stared at everything silently. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Finally, I asked. Did you kill her? The question hung in the air. Heavy. Painful. Unavoidable. My father's eyes filled with tears. The strongest man I had ever known suddenly looked broken. Completely broken. Then he whispered. No. I waited. He continued. I lied about many things. His voice cracked. I helped hide the truth. Another pause. But I did not kill Rebecca. I wanted to believe him. I wanted proof. Instead, he opened a drawer and removed something I had never seen before. A sealed envelope. Rebecca's handwriting covered the front. And what was inside would reveal the final piece of the mystery. The piece that explained everything. The piece that would either destroy my father forever, or finally uncover what really happened 26 years ago. And when I opened that envelope, I realized the truth was far more heartbreaking than anyone had imagined. My hand shook as I stared at the envelope. For 26 years, it had remained sealed. Hidden. Forgotten. Waiting. My father sat silently across from me. Looking older than I had ever seen him. Not because of age. Because of guilt. Whatever was inside this envelope had haunted him for more than half his life. Slowly, I opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter. Several pages long. The handwriting matched Rebecca's journal. My biological mother's final words. I began reading. And within the first paragraph, everything changed. Again. The letter wasn't addressed to me. It wasn't addressed to my mother. It was addressed to David. My father. The letter began. David. If you're reading this, it means I've finally decided what to do. I continued reading. Every sentence felt heavier than the last. Rebecca explained that she had discovered something devastating. Something she had hidden from everyone. Including David. Including Michael. Including her own family. The truth was simple. And heartbreaking. She didn't know who my biological father was. For months, she had believed it was Michael. Then evidence suggested it might be David. The uncertainty destroyed her. Destroyed relationships. Destroyed trust. Destroyed her future. The love triangle had torn everyone apart. Suddenly years of secrets began making sense. The arguments. The fear. The pressure. The lies. But there was still more. Far more. For most of my life, Michael had been a mystery. A missing name. A ghost. Now the truth emerged. Michael wasn't simply Rebecca's fiancé. He was deeply in love with her. According to the letter, Michael planned to raise me regardless of paternity. He wanted to marry Rebecca. Start a family. Move away. Begin again. But shortly before the wedding, everything changed. Michael learned about David. Learned about the possibility that Rebecca's baby might not be his. The discovery devastated him. Their relationship collapsed. Arguments became constant. Pain turned into anger. Trust disappeared. Yet Michael never became violent. Never threatened Rebecca. Never abandoned her. Instead, he disappeared. Not because he wanted to. Because he had been called overseas for emergency military deployment. A fact nobody in town knew. A fact nobody bothered investigating. Everyone simply assumed he ran away. And over time, the lie became reality. I reached the most difficult part of the letter. The section my father had feared for 26 years. Rebecca described the night she died. She had arranged to meet David near the river trail. Not for romance. Not for confrontation. For closure. She wanted answers. She wanted peace. Most importantly, she wanted David to promise he would help raise me if something happened to her. The conversation became emotional. Both were overwhelmed. Both were frightened. But according to Rebecca's own words, there was no violence. No attack. No murder. No deliberate harm. Instead, after the conversation ended, Rebecca left alone. Walking along the trail. A storm had begun. Rain covered the ground. The path became slippery. And somewhere along that riverbank, she fell. The accident was real. The fall was real. The tragedy was real. My father had not pushed her. Had not struck her. Had not murdered her. I stopped reading. Completely stunned. For weeks I had believed one thing. Now the evidence pointed somewhere else entirely. Yet one question remained. If my father wasn't responsible, why hide the truth? Why lie for decades? The answer came in the final pages. The secret wasn't murder. The secret was shame. After Rebecca's death, the family discovered the uncertainty surrounding my paternity. The scandal threatened to destroy everyone. My grandparents feared public humiliation. My mother feared losing her sister's child. My father feared becoming the man blamed for everything. And when Michael disappeared overseas, nobody remained to challenge the story. So the family made a decision. A terrible decision. They buried the truth. All of it. Rebecca's letters. Her journal. The questions about my father. The questions about Michael. Everything. Then my mother and father adopted me. Legally. Officially. Permanently. They convinced themselves they were protecting me. Protecting the family. Protecting Rebecca's memory. But secrets don't disappear. They grow. Year after year. Silence became guilt. Guilt became fear. Fear became lies. 26 years of lies. I looked up from the letter. My father was crying. Quietly. The way people cry when they've carried pain for too long. I should have told you, he whispered. I didn't respond. He continued. Every birthday reminded me. Another pause. I wanted to tell you hundreds of times. His voice cracked. But I was afraid you'd hate me. For the first time since finding the folder, I truly saw him. Not as a villain. Not as a hero. Just a flawed human being. A man who made mistakes. A man who chose fear instead of honesty. A man who spent 26 years punishing himself. Then I asked the question that mattered most. Are you my father? He shook his head slowly. I don't know. The honesty surprised me. After decades of lies, the truth was finally simple. He genuinely didn't know. Neither did Rebecca. Neither did anyone. ### meeting Michael. 3 months later, another surprise arrived. Michael was alive. Very much alive. A private investigator eventually located him living in Arizona. For years he believed Rebecca had chosen David. He never knew about the letters. Never knew about me. Never knew the truth. When we finally met, neither of us knew what to say. We sat across from each other in silence. Studying one another. Searching for familiarity. Searching for answers. Eventually he smiled sadly. The same smile I had seen in old photographs. The same smile Rebecca had. And for a brief moment, I understood why she loved him. Before leaving, he handed me something. A small photo. Rebecca holding me as a newborn. A picture I had never seen before. On the back she had written, "My 2 favorite boys." I couldn't stop crying. Neither could he. Months later, I visited Rebecca's grave alone. For the first time in my life, I knew where she rested. The cemetery overlooked a quiet hillside. The wind moved gently through the trees. The world felt peaceful. I carried flowers. And the photograph Michael had given me. I sat beside the grave for hours. Talking. Not because I expected answers. Because after 26 years, I finally had the chance to speak. I told her about my childhood. My job. My mistakes. My dreams. The life she never got to see. Then I thanked her. For the letter. For the truth. For loving me. Eventually the sun began to set. Golden light covered the cemetery. I knew it was time to leave. Before standing, I placed the photograph against the headstone. Then I whispered something I had waited my entire life to say. Goodbye, Mom. For a moment, the wind grew stronger. Almost as if someone had heard me. Almost as if someone had answered. Then the silence returned. And somehow, for the first time since opening that folder, I felt whole. Sometimes the greatest mystery isn't discovering who your family is. It's discovering that love can survive even the secrets that nearly destroy it. If you discovered a hidden folder that completely changed your family's history, would you keep searching for the truth no matter what you found, or would some secrets be better left buried? Let me know in the comments below.